Hello folks, welcome to the Virtual Realms YouTube channel. I'm Ranger 1. The first thing I want to do is to thank one of my subscribers named Chobis. He has turned in some rather good replays to me that I just haven't been able to make work as standalone videos. However, I didn't want the footage to go to waste, so I hope it doesn't upset you, Chobis, but I'm going to put it in the background of this Virtual Realms channel update to give people some good gameplay to watch while I ramble on about events that are going to be happening in the various games that I cover and in this channel itself. Thanks for your contribution of the rather good replays. So where to begin? I've got a couple of things concerning War Thunder that I want to discuss, but I think I'm going to save that toward the end of this video, as well as some information about the channel itself. I'm going to start off with some fairly big news for those of you that have been following Armored Warfare and its development. It's a rather interesting tank game that is set with modern vehicles, where you play a mercenary, more or less, or a contractor, as they call it. It's coming along nicely, and you may have caught the two videos that I did of the alpha testing of this new offering. And their big announcement just a few days ago was that they were in fact not going to go into a closed beta. Instead, they were going to go into an early access model, meaning that you now will have access to the testing and early gameplay if you get into it. Now, there are a couple of ways that you can get into the early access testing of Armored Warfare, which will kick off on the 27th of this month. If you signed up previously for their open beta, which they're not going to do, they're doing the early access model instead. If you signed up for the open beta, you may still be selected. So there's still a chance that that's going to happen. Failing that, they have announced that they will be giving open access keys away as prizes during certain contests that they really haven't announced yet. And now they may have announced them by the time this video is aired, but at the point I'm recording this, there is no word on what those contests may be. And if they are going to go the route of offering access keys through the various YouTubers that cover the game, I will do my very best to get a hold of some and run some interesting contests for you all. That would be the very least that I can do to say thank you. There is a third way, and probably the way that most people are going to choose to get into the Armored Warfare early access. You can purchase what they call a Founders Pack. Now the funds obviously are going to go to help fund the further development of the game. The Founders Packs range anywhere from a very modest fee up to, starting at I think it's around $15, up to as much as 60, I think is where they top out at, 60 or 70, depending on what you want. And of course they're chock full of goodness. They're offering various amounts of premium game time, which won't start until the game goes into open beta. When the game hits open beta, your progress is not going to get wiped after that point. If you're in early access, yes, when early access is done, your progress will be wiped, and that makes sense. But when it hits open beta, then it's just like War Thunder in that your progress won't get wiped. You can then take advantage of your premium time, and it will start at that point in time. And everything stays with you even when they leave the open beta status and go into full release. Other things that they offer, of course, are in-game gold. Various other perks and incentives, not the least of which is for the very basic pack, you get into the early access program and you get your a certain amount of premium time, so on and so forth. But beyond that, I think they've got one that's priced at about $30 that has all that and then some. The thing that will catch most people's attention at that point is that they get, I believe it's one at that level, one premium tank that will be exclusive for 1 year. They will not offer it for sale through any other outlet for 1 full year. So you will be the only person running around, you and other members of the early access group, that will have that tank at your disposal. And if you go for their top of the line pack, I think they have a total of 4 premium tanks. The same deal, exclusive for 1 year. Plus a ton of gold and like 3 months of premium time. And if you compare the value of what they are putting into their packages compared to their competitors, I'm not going to diss their competitors at all, but they give you a lot more for your money. And that's going to shake things up a little bit. That may actually force some of the big boys like War Thunder and World of Tanks to actually give you more for your money in those titles as well. Competition is a very, very good thing. Apparently they are not content with playing the same game that everyone else plays and pricing things at a premium. They're willing to undercut the competition, which is just bonus for us. And of course, it doesn't hurt that Armored Warfare is looking really good so far, with very solid gameplay and taking definite steps to listen to their players and to also look at what the other games, their competitors, have had difficulties with in the past and take proactive steps to avoid those pitfalls, artillery being one of them. Their artillery system is actually pretty clever and works well, and yet still allows people to play those artillery pieces without getting bored or frustrating everyone else in the game. So all in all, I'm giving it a thumbs up so far, and the opportunity to get into the early access, I think a lot of you might seriously consider. Well, I will post a link to the Founders Packages page with information on the early access program in the comments below, so that you can click on it and go there and see for yourself. And while you're at it, looking at the comments below, let me know if you intend to give Armored Warfare a try. I'm curious as to what you guys think and what your impressions have been so far. Let's see, what's next? Oh, just real briefly, EVE Online's Mosaic patch is now out in the wild, and it has gone pretty well. One big bug did surface, but it's really kind of a bonus rather than a bug. They introduced their new ship skinning system where you can put different corporate color schemes on certain vessels. And it was a decent selection of ships and color schemes, but nothing near the full palette that will eventually be available to us. But there's a bug with the ship skinning system, and if you know how to do it, you can apply pretty much any color scheme that you have available, no matter what race or corporation or entity it is. You can apply it to any other ship in the game, not just the one ship that it was designed for. And of course people are going nuts with that. Now, CCP has said, look, those aren't vetted yet. We don't know if they're going to cause issues with your game. We don't know if they're going to cause excessive lag. Don't do this. I mean, they can't stop you from doing it, but they're saying don't do it, because if you jack up your game, we can't be responsible for that. This was a bug that we've asked you not to use until we can get it fixed. The one good thing that has come out of this, now keep in mind, they're not billing this as an exploit either. They're not going to ban you from the game for doing this. They're just saying there are very good reasons not to right now. But the one thing that has come out of this that I count as a good thing is they've gotten such a tremendously positive, thunderous amount of feedback of people that like the capability of being able to do that, that hopefully they'll rethink their plan on how they're going to release these skins. Personally, I would prefer, and you can make it based on your standings with a certain corporation if you want to, but I would like to be able to buy a license from a certain corporation and apply those skins to any vessel that I own. The reality of EVE is that, yes, okay, this may be a Caldari corporation, but I'm Amar, and I do missions for them, or I'm Minmatar. It really doesn't matter. So if your racial origin doesn't make a difference as to who you're affiliated with, then why should the racial origins of your ships have anything to do with that either? Why is it that only certain Galente ships can sport Galente Corporation color schemes. In the reality that is the homogeneous universe of EVE, it makes very little sense. If I have the money to pay for a skin, I should be able to apply it to any ship I choose. Because I'm probably going to be doing missions at some point in that ship for that corporation. And it's very likely that it's not going to be in a ship that has any remote connection with that corporation's racial heritage. So, yeah, it's hopefully given them food for thought. And maybe they'll reorganize how they're doing this. Plus, their prices are a little high in some cases, and that kind of needs a rethink. The whole thing of, yeah, if you've got high-priced cosmetic items out there, you're going to make a lot more money off of the much smaller group of people that are willing to pay for that. Or if you charge a much lower amount, you make money from everybody because, hey, if it's only a few bucks, who wouldn't make their ship look really super cool? Anyway, that's just my 2 cents on it. We'll have to see how this all shakes out. I imagine they will have a fix for it out very soon, if they don't by the time this video is released anyway. And I suppose that brings us around to War Thunder. Patch 1.49, or actually 1.47 yada yada yada, whatever they ended up naming it since they've changed up their naming convention and confused the heck out of everybody. It's out. Whatever they decided to call it. And it brought with it a host of new vehicles, including an American tank destroyer lineup and a line of British naval aircraft, which are absolutely welcome additions to the game. And there were a few other things introduced also, including a couple of rather nice lower-level Japanese planes that were needed to fill in certain gaps in the Japanese tech tree. And they also brought in some interesting Ace Edition premium fighters and tanks here and there. Really, they're the same as the normal flavor of that plane or tank, but they have very specialized, historically correct Ace camo patterns on them. And I guess that's one way to go. To me, that's preferable to making their premiums consist primarily of captured tanks and aircraft. That never made a whole lot of sense to me. Prototypes make more sense to me than captured planes or aircraft, because that ends up screwing up everything when you start looking at realistic battles that don't have enemy markers over them, or simulator battles too. It confuses everything, and people tend to shy away from using them completely in those situations, or depending on their mindset, they abuse that to take advantage of their teammates. So, well, let's put it this way, they'll slip into the enemy ranks, and unless you don't notice right off the bat that, hey, he doesn't have a friendly marker over his head, you might be dead before that realization strikes home. Well, everybody's flying zeros except that zero is blowing me out of the sky. Oh, it's because it's the American zero. You know what I'm saying. So anyway, we'll see how that turns out. Now, this brings me to some channel news. I've noticed something, and it doesn't distress me, but whenever I come out with a video on a different game, like EVE or Homeworld or Armored Warfare, I almost immediately, that same day, end up losing several War Thunder subscribers. And that's okay. I mean, losing subscribers happens to a YouTube channel all the time. All the time. But it has really picked up now that I have started to cover more of the games that I've wanted to get my teeth into. And I'm a little concerned that perhaps people have gotten the wrong idea of the direction of this channel, and I just wanted to take a moment and make sure that's not the case. The Virtual Realms YouTube channel is, and has always been, intended to cover a wide variety of games, but primarily combat games of one flavor or another. The common denominators being not the time period of the game or the tech involved in the game, but more whether the gameplay is enjoyable and intense and well thought out game mechanics, as well as, is it pretty to play? When you look at that game, does it make you gasp and go, wow, that is really cool? If it appeals to me, I'm pretty sure that it will appeal to you. But some of these games are based in World War II, some in modern day, some in the far-off future. And I think some people are expecting this channel to be all about World War II tank combat, or airplane combat, or some mixture of that, or think that it's all going to be science fiction stuff. And that's not the focus. I'm not trying to get into one very narrow genre of games. The genres that I want to cover are fairly broad. Competitive, combat-oriented, breathtakingly beautiful, clever gameplay. And if a game you know of fits that criteria, I will likely cover it at some point in time. Well, when time allows. So, if you subscribe to this channel because you think it's going to be all War Thunder coverage, I don't want to disappoint you. If I put out a video on, say, EVE Online, that does not mean that I am no longer covering War Thunder. Not even remotely. I like War Thunder and will play it, and I will make videos about War Thunder and continue to put them out. But you may have a stretch of time where if EVE Online is running a big tournament or something, you may see a slew of videos come out back to back about EVE Online because they are time sensitive. And I have to put those videos together in a certain time frame while that is still fresh in the public mind. There is a definite shelf life to the relevance of certain videos. But as soon as that time has passed, I will get right back to giving you the more well-rounded coverage that I've always tried to give you for whatever game it is that you happen to enjoy. So, again, if you're watching this channel just because you think when you hit that subscribe button that, oh, this is all about one particular game, it's not. And I'm sorry, I don't want to disappoint you. It's just not the goal of this channel. And I'm not going to get upset at anyone who unsubscribes if they come to the sudden realization that, oh, he's not all about this. That's fine. I understand it, and there's absolutely no hard feelings. Thank you very much for subscribing to begin with, and thank you for watching when you can. Please come back and visit us. But if you unsubscribe because you think I'm shifting over to a different game, please don't. Because I will get back to the same games that I've always covered. If I am going to discontinue coverage of a particular game, I promise I will let you know. The only game right now that is in danger of my not covering anymore that I've touched on in the past is possibly World of Tanks. I've been out of that for so long, it's a little difficult for me to get back into it, and there are people out there that have covered it for so long and know it so well. I feel a little silly. I almost feel like I'm in competition with them on that, and I really don't want to be. I like World of Tanks, and I may play it once in a while still and make a video on it. But if I get to the point where I'm just done with any further World of Tanks videos, I will let you know. And in that particular case, it may happen. I haven't quite made up my mind about that one yet. If you would like me to do World of Tanks videos, let me know in the comments. I will definitely take your point of view into consideration on that, because I'm a little up in the air in that case. Now, while we're on that topic, one game that I have been looking at, trying to make up my mind on, is World of Warships. I'm intrigued by it in a way. I kind of like the concept, and I like the gameplay videos that I have observed, and now I can get into it and I can start producing videos relating to it. But to me, it seems like it takes a particular type of mindset to watch videos about World of Warships. It's a little bit more strategic. It's not quite as in-your-face, action-packed as most of the stuff that I tend to cover. Then again, I also cover Homeworld, which is more of a strategy type of situation too. Well, there is combat in it, but it's kind of a slower-paced combat for the most part. And I just haven't made up my mind as to whether or not I want to devote time to getting into it and making videos on it. And I'm really not entirely sure what your level of interest is in it either. So I would appreciate some feedback on that. Would you like to see me do coverage of World of Warships. Let me know in the comments below. I will take that into consideration as well. I'm, again, on this particular subject, a little up in the air, and I don't know, if you guys really want to see it, I wouldn't mind it. I'd at least like to give it a try. But if you have no interest in it at all, I can keep it at arm's length myself for a while too. I'm not 100% convinced. But let me know. And when we're talking about leaving information in the comments section, there's something that I have noticed about this community. We have such a good little community here. Everyone is very polite to each other. Everyone is very polite to me, and I appreciate that. I have been a citizen of various online communities and forums that are incredibly mean and nasty from time to time. And I really enjoy the fact that everyone is very tactful here and very polite. But one thing that I have noticed that does kind of concern me is whenever my subscribers have a question for me, they usually shoot me an email or contact me in some other way to ask would I mind covering this or doing something, or just a question about me personally, and all that's fine. And they're trying very hard to be discreet and not intrusive into the actual comment section of a particular video. And that is very, very nice, but for most of these questions or requests, put them in the comment section. I absolutely have no problem with major discussions or requests happening in the comment sections of my videos. That is perfectly fine, and you know me. I monitor those comment sections just as closely as I can, and I try to respond to everyone that I can, everyone that I have time to. And I will certainly answer most of those questions in the comment section. That's fine. Now, if it's something serious or time sensitive or really, really, really important to you, yeah, I don't mind you shooting me an email. That's okay too. Don't think I'm trying to ask you not to email me. I enjoy it when I get emails from you guys. But for a lot of this stuff, just put it in the comments section. Ask me what you want. As a matter of fact, a lot of those questions, I could devote a section to my Virtual Realms channel updates to answering them publicly rather than just in the comment section. And really, maybe that's not a bad way to go, because if you're wondering about something, maybe a lot of other guys are too. So ask away, and I will see about featuring some of the appropriate questions at the end of or during, or heck, I could devote a whole episode to just answering questions if it came right down to it in these Virtual Realms episodes. I have no problem with that whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I kind of enjoy it. The only thing that I ask is that you don't expect those, well, is that you try not to make those questions to be like of an overly technical nature. I am not an expert on the games that I cover. I'm not an expert on World War II aircraft or tanks. I have a serious interest in it, and in certain areas my depth of knowledge is better than average, but that's not what I'm getting at when I say ask me whatever you like. I probably would have to answer with I don't know in many cases. And I do not consider myself to be a gaming expert by any stretch of the imagination. I think if I'm being honest with myself, I'm at best maybe a little better than dead average at most of the games that I play. Certain ones I've been playing for so many years that maybe I'm even a little bit better than that, but depending on who you talk to, they might disagree with you. That's always the case. But no, of a more general nature. If you want my opinion on something, whether it be a hot topic for War Thunder or a new development in EVE Online, or just want to ask me what my favorite color is, or do I have kids and how old are they, or something like that, that's fine. Anything you want to know along that line, go for it. I'm up for it. And if I can't answer it, I'll either tell you I can't answer it, or I just won't include it and try and type something in the comments to let you know that instead. Anyway, that's all that I have for you this episode. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I hope you've had a good day, and I hope tomorrow will be even better. And until I see you again, good hunting. Thanks for watching. I hope you were entertained. If you liked the video, please remember to subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you. And I'll see you next time.